to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics for Kanye to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. What a show we have for you today. We will be talking our MLB preview show with the fan favorite Joe Aguirre. Who do we have winning the World Series? Who do we have our MVP, Cy Youngs? But let's first, before we get into that, let's start off with last night's game. We talked about this yesterday.
Games.
And did I say game?
You said game.
Oh,
it's okay.
Son of a gun. These games that we talked about yesterday, the main thing was these were toss-up games. You didn't know who was going to come out of these games last night. You could have seen the 12-seed Oregon beat Virginia. You could have seen Gonzaga get upset. You could have seen, well, I don't think, maybe we didn't see Michigan playing the way they played in that, and Texas Tech playing that. All these games were toss-ups.
And a lot of that had to do with the 1, 2, and 3 seeds of every bracket.
Yes.
Making it through. And like we were reading before, all the favorites won last week. They were 16-0 in all the games last week in the round of 32. Mm-hmm. And when you have all the top favorite teams winning and the top contested teams, you're going to have a highly contested.
Well, especially this year.
Like we said, you said Oregon was a 12 seed, but as we said yesterday on the preview,
they should have been higher than a 12 seed.
But they had played poorly down the stretch,
yes.
And then they won their last 10 games going into the tournament.
But that's been the tournament. That's been this entire season. The favorites have won. The better teams have won. And again, we're right in the narrative. The better teams won last night.
Absolutely.
Virginia was better than Oregon. Gonzaga was better than Florida State. Purdue was better than Tennessee.
Purdue played better than Tennessee.
Tennessee probably should have never even been in the situation that they were last night because they were up huge last week against Iowa, but they also been struggling. They could have lost the first 2 games against Colgate and Iowa. They held on. Last night, their luck ran out. They almost came back and pulled off a miraculous comeback, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. If that game last night, and boy, was it a special one. The Purdue-Tennessee game, was that the best game of the tournament? We'll discuss that as well. My biggest thing, watching last night's games, and I'm looking at this one player because this team was, and I think me and you will both come to an agreement that Texas Tech, whoa, those Red Raiders put a hurting on Big Blue. We were both on Michigan because of the experience, and boy, could we be any more wrong than we were last night.
The most impressive victory
of maybe the whole tournament.
Well, at least of the 4 games last night, and I'll speak only in those
because
4
of
games.
how good Michigan was. Coming into it, that's why.
Well, I said to you before the show, Texas Tech and Michigan were a toss-up, 50-50, because you could have made the argument Texas Tech was the best 3 seed going forward. The only reason they were the 3 seed was because they lost in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. They could have been a 2 seed, and you could have made the argument Michigan was really a 3 seed.
Yeah.
A lot of that had to do with how good the Big 10 was during the regular season, and we've seen throughout the tournament they have the best record.
They've been very successful.
So Texas Tech, total dominant win last night. I mean, just total.
From start to finish.
I mean, first of all, the game started off,
what a dud.
It was dud. The first 9 minutes, it was a 6-6 game. It was incredible. I joked beforehand. I read in the New York Post, it said first one to 50 would win. And then I said to one of my coworkers last night, I said, first one to 50. He goes, first one to 30. He goes, either team might not score 50. Now, Texas Tech ended up winning 63-44. It really wasn't even that close. It could have been a lot worse. Michigan shot 1 from 19 from the 3.
They made a late 3.
But what I'll say with the other 3 games as an overall take was the teams that won made the right plays at the end, and they were veteran-laden teams. You look at the Gonzaga team. They made the right plays down the stretch. Florida State had cut it to 4 within 5 minutes. And then Gonzaga, the veteran presence of Perkins as the point guard, Mark Few, and the depth they have on that front court end up taking over. I was wrong on my prediction. I had Florida State win, and I thought their depth and the length and athleticism would end up taking over. They did not. Purdue, they're weird because they are a mix of, have Carson Edwards, the junior.
But the good thing about Purdue
and then the tall guy, and 7'3", Netherland. guy, what's it? Oh my goodness. Harms, thank you very much.
I gotcha.
You know, was a big presence underneath last night. That game was like a street fight. I remember calling you on the phone. You were driving home from your girlfriend's house, and I said, this game is incredible. And you're like, well, what's the score? And I was like, it's 6-4.
No, you said 3-2.
3-2. And I was
like, dude, the game just started.
It was like 2 minutes in, but it had that field. It had an Elite Eight field. It was like a street fight. And then I'll just finish off with this. I got home from work last night, and it was about 5 minutes and 48 seconds left, and the score was 42-42, Virginia, Oregon. Mm-hmm. And Oregon had just hit a 3 to go up 45-42. And then we looked at the end of the game. It ended up tying up 45-45, and Oregon never scored again except for a late bucket, which didn't mean anything at the end because Virginia already had the game in hand. They never scored again in the last 5 minutes, and Virginia made the right plays down the stretch.
And that's what it comes down to, is that you got to make the plays when needed most. And a lot of you look at the games last night, especially the early games, all four teams could not hit free throws. It was amazing to see how many missed free throws that were happening. Tennessee, Gonzaga, Florida State, and Purdue, all teams were kind of putrid at one point from the free throw line. But for anybody,
do you want to know? You want to know the free throw percentage last night in that game? Hold on, and just I know you say no, but I'm going to do it anyways because that's what I do.
I don't care.
Tennessee shot 50%. They were 12 for 24, and Purdue was 15 of 31, 48.5%. Nice. So just in that game alone, and we said it beforehand, if either one of those teams makes a couple more free throws, that game doesn't even go into overtime.
And I praised Dana Altman a lot yesterday because one of the best coaches, I think, in all of college football. I think we should start mentioning Chris Beard in that conversation as well because, man, from what this team was, we've watched college basketball for years now, for quite some time. Since we were little kids.
When's the first time you can remember watching college basketball? Because I could tell you the first time I remember.
Since I was a little, I remember watching back in early 2000 with Jay Williams and Duke.
See, that's when because you're younger than me. See, I remember when
I'm a younger person.
When we used to live in West Haven, and I remember, I think it was on the radio, and if you're a UConn fan, you remember this. It was 95, 96. UCLA ended up winning the national championship that year, but that was Danielle Marshall's UConn team, and they ended up losing in the Sweet 16 to that UCLA team that ended up winning the national championship. But that's really when I remember UConn and college basketball. That's really when I started watching at a young age, and it's grown, and it's amazing how the game has changed. Because I'll let you finish, but I want to talk about Gonzaga and coach Mark Few.
It's not even that.
What impressive job he's done there.
My point. It's not even about Gonzaga. My point is Texas Tech has been kind of a laughingstock in college basketball. They're not really they haven't been a great program. But since Chris Beard has been there, this is their second straight Elite Eight appearance.
Well, you can make the argument.
And this is a team
when Texas Tech.
This is a team that can easily, but they were all right.
No, I know. That's when Texas Tech became an actual name to be known.
But they weren't making Elite Eights. They weren't contending for possible national championship Final Fours. They have a legitimate shot to beat Gonzaga tomorrow night and go to the Final Four. They have a legitimate shot, and that's due to Chris Beard.
Remember that picture I took last night?
This is one of the best offensive teams in all of college basketball versus one of the best defensive teams in all of college basketball. So something's got to give in this game. And the guy that's going to be huge, that's fine. One of the things is Jared Culver. You want to talk about a star and could be a star going forward in the NBA? And RJ Barrett better start playing well, because there's some teams that may want to pick this kid over RJ Barrett. Is the fact that he could score, he could rebound, he shoots pretty good from the field too. And that's the thing. He's smart with the ball. RJ Barrett sometimes forces too many shots. Jared Culver, this kid's impressive. He's averaging about 25, 6, and 9. Dwayne Wade was one of the guys that they were saying Dwayne Wade was doing that.
When you talk about guys that we said in John Moran last week's show, how guys
Jared Culver's been great.
When they get to the tournament, how they can increase their stock. That's the best way to say it, their stock going forward. Jared Culver was already a lottery pick. I think he's put himself in the top 5 coming forward.
But Chris Beard, salute to you. You have made Texas Tech a formidable foe and a dominant team going forward, and a team that people are going to want to go play for. And that's the thing.
And that's going to be a great matchup because, like you said,
I can't wait.
Chris Beard, the defensive mind at Texas Tech, has been dominant. They have shut down. They showed the stat last night. I don't have it up on me, but they shut down Northern Kentucky, who was like a 46% shooting, and they went down
everybody. They've shut down everybody.
They shut down Buffalo, and they shut down. I mean, they literally crushed and shut down Michigan. Put the stomp on it. That's why that matchup of Chris Beard.
Well, we'll talk about that.
I know, and Mark Few. It was going to be an exciting and thrilling matchup, and that's one of the most matchups I'm looking for.
So
because Mark Few, since he's been in Gonzaga, has led this team to 9 Sweet 16 matchups, 17 regular season championships, and 15. He's one of the elite coaches in college basketball.
Let me get over to this.
I want to ask you a question. An elite coach.
Let me get over to this because we got to get over to
today's games.
Today's games, and I want to get over to our baseball preview show. Quick question to you. Best game of the tournament. UCF Duke, Purdue Tennessee. I'm still sticking with Duke and UCF just because of the factor that Duke came in with such heavy expectations of winning a national championship throughout this entire season. So to see a team like UCF, who's not a basketball school, almost come literally this close to pulling off one of the biggest upsets in recent memory. I know it's a 1-9 matchup, but I'm taking the Duke UCF game. I know this game had more meaning. But just think UCF
well,
beating...
Well, they both had the same meaning.
Just think UCF beating Duke.
Well, I'm going to make it short and sweet. I would agree with you in that statement. Because of the 9-1 matchup, Central Florida being a no-name compared to the number 1 overall seed Duke, and in the publicity in Zion and Duke, just the name of Duke, you beat Duke, the significance. I'm not taking away from anything from last night's game. Last night's game was 1B to the 1A Duke game. Mm-hmm. They were both exciting and thrilling. The only thing I will say is I enjoyed this game a little bit better only because I was able to watch more of it. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to see as much in the Duke game because I was working. But I will agree with you in that the Duke game was the best game so far.
Okay.
And also because of the way that game ended with Central Florida just missing the tip in to win the game, where Tennessee's game went to overtime and they really lost it at the end.
Thank you. What do you guys think?
Thank you.
I know there's people that are watching. I know that people are commenting. What do you guys think? Who was the best game of the tournament so far? Is it UCF or Duke? Or is it Tennessee and Purdue? Give us your thoughts. Let's shift over to, speaking of Duke, and those Friday games. These games, it's about the guard play in these games. You look at the matchups, and the first one that comes to mind is North Carolina versus Auburn. You got 2 great guards on both teams. I'm sorry with this one.
You think
don't look? Don't look confused. You look.
I look confused because
you usually are confused.
The way you and I'll make the point is, I don't think this has the best point guard matchup. I think this this has the second best point guard matchup. I'll take the kid, and maybe someone could disagree with me, but the matchup of Cassius Winston from Michigan State versus Tremont Waters, the New Haven, Connecticut native of LSU, I think is a better matchup point guard to point guard.
I don't know.
I think
Kobe White and Cam Johnson versus Jared Harper and Bryce Brown. That's a pretty legit competitive matchup right there of guards. And guards, either way, there's some nasty guards. There's some great guards. And that Cassius Winston and Tremont Waters matchup is right there as well. I mean, you look at it.
I'm listening.
Last night, you had some teams that are usually not in the situation that they've been put in. Tonight, it's about the names, the teams that are in it. You're looking at 4 of the biggest names in all college basketball history. Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Michigan State. Those are some of the blue bloods. Those have been, other than UCLA of college basketball.
Well, yeah, the 4 biggest names. Duke, Michigan State, North Carolina,
probably
Kentucky.
The 4 biggest names, Kansas, if you want to put in as well. 4 of the biggest names in all college basketball are playing tonight. And that's what it comes down to. Last night, you had like the little brother. Against tonight, you have...
Well, because it's Friday night.
It is Friday night. But it could also hurt.
They want prime time.
But that also could hurt.
And will all 4 Blue Bloods teams win tonight? Will Duke beat Virginia Tech? Will Michigan State beat LSU? Will North Carolina beat Auburn? And will Kentucky in the night game beat Houston?
Do you think the UCF game was a wake-up call for Duke?
The first round matchup should have been a wake-up call because they
No, but
struggled.
literally, no. They were going to get by North Dakota State. They were going to beat them.
I know,
it
but
would have
still.
brought. I know it was a little close, but they were going to get by him. For that game, specifically the UCF game, to be this close, if that ball just goes this, it's in the hole. It's over. They lose. They're done. Their season's over. Round of 32.
I don't think one game can define you as a wake-up.
It's not a define. It's a wake-up call.
I don't think
this is a wake-up call, though.
The tournament should be a wake-up call. You lose, you go home, son.
I know that. I know what you're saying. It's one and done. But to see how close they were from losing.
If anything, I don't think it's a wake-up call. I think if anything, it gives them more confidence that they're able to handle the pressure when they're either losing because they were down and they should have not won that game, but they did. So that should give them more confidence. I don't think if it's a wake-up call. I think it's more of a confidence booster going into tonight's game against Virginia Tech, and it sets a tone that says we are ready for the big time, and this Virginia Tech team better beware of this Duke team because they've already kind of sleepwalked through the first 2 rounds. We're ready to rock. We should have lost. We didn't. We're here to play now.
They got through, and they survived. We always talk about this every year. The 2 words, survive and advance. And that's what Duke did the other night. They survived, and they advanced. Now it's time for them to put it all together. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for a Duke team to put it all together. And I think tonight against a team that they lost in this season, but we do have to remember they didn't have Zion. And I know Virginia Tech didn't have Justin Robinson. But we do have to realize that Trey Jones is one of the best perimeter guards in all. Defensively, I won't say offensively.
Yeah, because he struggled.
He's struggling right now from shooting. But defensively, this could be the matchup that Virginia Tech just doesn't want to see, especially knowing that Zion is back.
I think they do want, Matt. I think Virginia Tech wants this matchup. They want to prove that win at home without Zion was not a fluke.
And you don't think Duke wants to come and be like, oh, everybody's.
Of course.
They're the most vulnerable 1 seed coming into the Sweet 16. Coming into the Sweet 16, by far, they were the number 1 seed that was most vulnerable. And everybody thinks, oh, well, they can't shoot. They're not a good 3-point shooting team.
They can't shoot. They can't shoot threes. Can't shoot free throws.
And that's the thing. They're going to be having a lot of these questions.
They lack depth.
And that's what they're going to be hearing. You're going to be hearing that. You've been hearing for all week. So Duke needs to finally put it together against a division team that you've already went down. I expect Duke to play their best game as of yet in this tournament, and it should be tonight. This will be a fun game, but Duke will win tonight. They're too talented not to be in the Final Four. They are way too talented. I don't care. They have the best player in college basketball.
Talent doesn't always win the game. The best team does, and we haven't talked about this, but if Zion gets in foul trouble early, how does that affect Duke?
It affects. What it's going to do to Duke if Zion goes down. It's going to affect them tremendously.
But you could say that about every major team. If their big time player goes down, and not because of injury, but because of foul trouble, it'll change everyone's game.
What matchup are you most looking forward to tonight?
I'm just looking at the 4 games that are right in front of me on my phone. I'm looking forward to all of them. I can make the argument that the Duke-Virginia Tech game finally, this game, I mean, it's Sweet 16, it's ACC rivals. Duke already lost to them, but now you're going to have, like you said, you're going to have Zion back in the game, and you're going to have the senior guard, Justin Robinson, who didn't play in that first one, back for Virginia Tech. They're going to be fully loaded and ready to go. Buzz Williams is going to pack the lane and is going to say, Duke, shoot everything from the outside. Then you look at the second game, LSU, Michigan State, the point guard matchup. Like I said, Cassius Winston versus Tremont Waters, 2 elite guards. Tremont Waters is a co-defensive player in the SEC. Cassius Winston's 18 points, 7 assists a game.
All over the place.
All over the place, brother. It's okay. But you look at that matchup. I give Michigan State, I'll make this quick. Michigan State will have the advantage because you have the legendary coach in Izzo versus the interim coach for LSU. The second game, just have a neck brace because Auburn and North Carolina are 1-2 in transitional points. They're going to be up and running down the court. The question I'll have for this is, can Auburn, I don't think they'll out-rebound UNC, but can they balance the rebounding and front court of UNC, which does a very good job of offensive and defensive rebounding? And then the last game, if P.J. Washington does not play for Kentucky, which is a huge, huge factor, who's averaging almost 18 points and 9 rebounds a game in the last, 15 games, how does Kentucky make up for that lack of points and rebounding? And can Corey Davis and the senior-laden Houston guards and their defensive-minded team, can they, handle Kentucky? So every matchup is going to be great. I'm looking forward to them. I think they all should be somewhat closely game. I could see North Carolina pulling away from Auburn late, especially if they control the boards. Mm-hmm. But every game should be great. I mean, in my brackets, I have Duke winning. I had Michigan State winning. I had North Carolina winning, and I had Kentucky. I know that's not sexy. So it's all the 1 and 2 seeds. But that's how this tournament is going. It's been by chalk.
The Elite Eight will be set tonight after about 12 o'clock. Who will be in? And that's the question. Half of it is already set up. What will the rest be? Will we have all 4 number 1 seeds still alive? Or could we have one of them go down? Quick final thing. Which 1 seed is more likely to go down? Auburn or no? North Carolina or Duke?
I only say Duke in the sense that Virginia Tech plays them during the season. They're used to playing them. They don't have the fear factor. Buzz Williams and Virginia Tech, as we've talked before, has always been Duke's kind of kryptonite.
Okay. That's fine. That's
the only reason why.
Okay, that's fine. I'll say North Carolina. Virginia Tech's gonna. The main point that they have to do to have any chance is slow Duke down in transition. Duke's one of the best, and they're probably the best team in the country when in transition. North Carolina has a tough matchup, especially if those 2 guards, Jared Harper and Bryce Brown, go off. You got Bruce Pearl. He's got the experience. That's going to be a toss-up of a matchup. You like guards? Stay tuned for that Auburn and North Carolina matchup, because that could be a fun one. That could be like a Purdue-Tennessee game. A lot of points in that game. Expect a lot of points. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a break. When we come back, we will be having the fan favorite Joe Aguirre to join us. We're talking first. It's a 2 parts. First, we're talking New York Yankees, New York Mets, and Boston Red Sox. So for all our local fans, stay tuned for that. And then we'll close out with our predictions and our award winners as well. Keys of the City from All Noise Radio. We'll be right back, folks.
You want sports? We've got sports. Here on Keys to the City. Brought to you by All Noise Radio. Here's your host, Trevor and Ted.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, Keys to the City, and look who's joining us for our MLB preview show.
Great.
Don't be too excited over there now.
Yes, my biggest fan.
And the host of the Roll Call, Yankees Roll Call. If you're a big Yankees fan, check them out. Podcast also, they got a baseball, Red Sox podcast.
We just started a new Red Sox one yesterday. It's called Fenway Fodder.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I know you're a big Yankee fan.
We had so many Red Sox fans watching and listening to the show, and they were like, are you guys going to do a Red Sox one? And I'm certainly not going to do one.
Yeah.
But Clovercrest Media Group, we were like, you know what? The people have spoken. So we decided to give them their very own show. So
I hear you.
Glad to unveil that.
So since we're on the Red Sox, I know we're Yankee fans, but I think the bigger thing is seeing the Red Sox. I know it's one game. I know there's 161 left. But seeing Chris Sale get torched like that. They just gave him the huge contract. As a Red Sox fan, and you know Red Sox fans, how are you feeling? I know it's one game, and I don't want to get people nervous, but how do you feel as a Red Sox fan, knowing that Chris Sale just got beat up by a team that's going to be at the bottom of the AL this year?
I figure like this. Every starter is going to have 3, 4, 5 clunkers. And that was Chris Sale's. Maybe he didn't get stretched out enough in the spring, whatever the case may be.
Did you see the guy who hit 2 home runs off of him?
I did.
He was like 0 for
15
with 9 Ks.
The analytics come into play, and then
There
look
you
what
go.
happened.
But
Right?
eventually,
Very due, obviously.
Eventually, he's due.
Do you think they're going to, if you're a Red Sox fan, what is their biggest concern? You see Chris Sale get shelled like that, but you got the bullpen question marks as well. What do you think they should do? Do you think they're desperately trying to go after Craig Kimbrell? Do they do whatever it takes to get him back?
If
we
I
didn't
own
get
the
the
Red
chance
Sox, I would do that. But they clearly feel confident. Look, David Price has slotted as their 5th starter, so they feel good about the rotation.
Wow.
All right, that's pretty telling
That's saying
when
something.
he's literally
what
the
do they
5
have for-
guy.
That's saying something that if he's their 5th starter,
Yes.
they have faith in
Is he really their 5th? I thought they had him listed at the
They
3rd. behind
literally have
Porcello.
him slotted at 5, which is stunning.
Yeah, I would definitely have him in the top 3.
Yeah.
Him, Porcello, and Sale. Listen, I think with the Red Sox, the biggest question is, can they repeat? Can they be the first team since the New York Yankees of 2000 to repeat? Because that's really what it comes down to. This team is fully loaded. You can make all the excuses you want. They don't have the bullpen. Neither do the Cubs this year. The Yankees have injuries. Can the Yankees starting roster then? I know we're talking about the Red Sox. Every team has a question mark. Who's going to
throw a little curveball right there?
I know. Because
Started off with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
because everything has a significant curveball. But like we said, you posted yesterday with the Yankees is the Red Sox have a lineup just as good as anyone in the entire league, and they can carry this baseball team to easily another 100 wins. And if you're winning by 6-7 runs at the end of the game, I have trust that the Red Sox will find a way to get the job done.
I think they feel like
if they needed
they
them,
can
they would
patch
go
it
get them.
together. Yeah, I agree with you. If they thought it was an issue, and it may be an issue, but if they really believed it was an issue, they would address it. And I would say probably between now and July, chances are they're going to need to and that they're going to do it.
And I just read a thing on SportsIllustrated.com where it said Kimbrell should wait till July because they don't have to give up any
Compensatory,
picks,
yeah.
compensatory, and he goes, then he can find out who's legit ready to play and who's needed. I've heard, and I know it's sort of off, I heard the Brewers are looking at Kimbrell. They could really with Hader, but you stick with the Red Sox, Trev.
Yeah.
I said this to you yesterday. I think other than the Cubs,
You said something to me?
and you don't listen anyways because you're always on your phone staring
like
at
my wife.
staring at Instagram.
You don't
No, but,
listen.
I talked to him and he's like this. He's on Instagram all the time. I'm like, Trev, you talk? Yeah, I'm listening. No, you're not. What'd I say? I think other than the Cubs, they have the best rotation in baseball. The Red Sox. If you look at their starting rotation, and you don't really need the bullpen if your starters are giving you 6-7 good innings,
But
and your
that's
team scores.
But that's exactly why
way
they were
they
so
do.
great last year.
Yeah.
It's because, we want to talk about how great their offense is and how balanced they are. But it was always the pitching. I mean, Chris Sale was lights out.
Well, let me
for the majority of that part of the season.
Let me be a
And then
devil's advocate.
But now you're starting to see, he comes out. Usually when Chris Sale comes out first game, I know it's one game. But usually Chris Sale is 7 innings like a Scherzer.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a Degrom he was yesterday.
Yeah, one bad game.
I know it was one bad game. But still, he wasn't throwing fast. So
It's early.
the guy was throwing close to 100 miles an hour. Now he's struggling to throw 95.
Trev, Betances wasn't even hitting 90 on the
We're not
ground.
comparing
Well, right, and now
Betances
where
and
is he?
Sale, though.
Yes, we are.
But we're not.
Right.
No, do not.
But hold on. Where's Betances now? So again, this could indicate.
That's what I'm
Is there
saying.
something
But he
wrong
didn't
with
throw
Chris
100
Sale?
until midsummer. He was low mid-90s last
Who's?
year. Sale. Look up the numbers. He didn't start hitting 97, 98, 99 until mid-July.
Do you think they made a mistake of giving him that contract?
Absolutely not. He's earned it.
That's what I
He's
think
one of the
they-
5 best
No,
pitchers
when
in
they gave him
baseball.
it, I said absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, just like DeGrom earned his contract. I think it's a little early, but you know what? He's earned
Oh, we're gonna
strike-
get into Joe's favorite player, Jacob DeGrom.
But
Yeah, one subpar season.
stop. Listen, you got to look at it this way: the Yankees, Red Sox, and we'll talk about our prediction are going to beat up on Toronto and Baltimore and win. Out of 18 games, they're going to win 15.
Let's be honest. Baltimore's not winning 50 games this year.
So
Is anybody disagreeing with me on that one?
I said they might come closer.
Does anybody want to make a bet on that one that Baltimore wins less?
I'll
than
go
50?
low as they win 45 games.
That's what I said. 45 games.
I'll go 43.
So
I'll go 40. I'll go 40.
I'll go under.
Trev, and I was going to make to your point before on the devil's advocate. You know, we talk about the Yankees bullpen. They're great as a bullpen. But if your starters are giving up runs and your team's not scoring, it doesn't matter how good your bullpen is because you got to have the lead.
Yep.
So the Red Sox are usually, they're scoring early. They're going to score. Their starters, more likely than not, are going to give them
But they
solid
had,
6 innings.
I know their bullpen was a question mark, but now you don't even have Kimbrel. I mean, you don't have Kimbrel, you don't have Kelly.
Here's the thing,
and
though.
their offense, you're going to have to rely
Kimbrel was
solely
shaky
on
as any Red Sox fan.
But you're going to have to
Kimbrel
rely
wasn't-
so much on that offense.
Listen. Here's the thing about that, okay? And I heard a lot of Red Sox fans say that, and the most honest ones are like, huge mistake, it was stupid. To suggest that John Wetland wasn't a great closer is nonsense. And you remember when Wetland was a Yankee, you sweated out every ninth inning, and he nailed them down.
It's like the Giants in the fourth quarter.
He nailed them down at the same percentage as Mariano Rivera did. He just didn't do it anywhere near as smoothly. And it was the same thing with Craig Kimbrel.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the top 3
He puts
closers
2 guys
in the
on.
game.
Next thing you know, he
Yes.
goes. He'd do it against the Yankees. He'd walk the first guy, give up a base hit. Next thing you know, he'd strike out the next 3, and he'd be like, "All right, game over."
Yes.
And you'd be like, thanks.
Right.
Thanks for making me have to go in my room and change my shirt because now I'm sweating under my armpits."
Sure. Look, again, it's never smooth, but he gets the job done.
At the end of the day, does he get the job done?
Did they win the World Series last year without Craig Kimbrel? My answer, no, they don't. I don't think they would have done it. I don't think their 8th inning guys were good enough last year that they would have won 108 games in the World Series.
As valuable, probably other than Seo, Mookie, and JD, I would put him right there as the most valuable Red Sox player he was last year.
We're all shocked that Craig Kimbrel
It's still not on
is still not signed, and that he's not signed specifically with the Red Sox.
Yes.
It's shocking.
Yes.
And only the Red Sox would have
Well, then there's gotta be
all-star
something-
super closer, win a World Series, and be like, we don't need
But
you.
that's got to be saying
That's
something.
not Boston loyalty.
But that's got to be no. That's got to be
That's
saying
that Patriot way or something.
to finish off on
Yeah.
this.
Let him go and it'll be
To
fine.
finish off on this, that's got to be a telling thing that the former team who just won the World Series, who had him for multiple years, is not re-signed. Can't just be about money. The reason why the Red Sox,
It probably hasn't even been a thought, which is even probably crazier to think that they probably haven't even, they're probably like, let him go.
Other than the Yankees, what team in baseball couldn't use another solid bullpen guy like him?
Right.
He's not a scrub. Okay,
No, he's one of the best in the game.
Nationals have issues in the bullpen. They've had him in the
He's one of the best in the
Astros
game.
have had issues in the bullpen. The Indians, they got rid of their guy Cody Allen, who had an awful year last year, and he's at the Angels hoping on a 1-year deal. All these teams, the Brewers, all these teams are looking for Kelly Jansen has had issues, and there's been health issues. Who couldn't use a guy like Ken Kimbrel? You want to put him in the 8th? You want to put him in the 9th? You want to put him in the 7th?
No,
It
he
doesn't
needs
matter.
to be specifically a closer.
Sure. I'm sure.
But still, who couldn't use him?
You're exactly right. I mean, again, there's probably 10 really great closers in baseball, and that might even be a stretch to use the word great to apply to them. He's definitely in the upper half.
Yankees probably have 3 of them.
Yeah, they kind of do.
All 4 of the
and
guys
that's
could
fine.
be
Look,
great.
the Phillies signed Bryce Harper and they're World Series contenders. Craig Kimbrel is that kind of an impact reliever where he joins the right squad who's got the kind of 10.
Yep.
Absolutely 10.
Let's shift over to the New York Yankees. And I asked the question, I posted, and some people
save the Mets for last. The best.
hey, they're 1-0. They're one of the best opening day teams.
Hey, Robbie Cano, baby.
Robbie Cano, I know. Now he's going to be relevant again. You're a Yankee fan. You're a huge Yankee fan. You're the host of a Yankee show. I posted a question.
Captain Obvious.
And
thanks.
and I got to just state the obvious, I know you don't do that sometimes. And some people said this is a good question. Yankees, biggest strength, is it their bullpen or is it their offense?
I think if you're talking about consistency, it's the bullpen, because the bullpen is pretty much on lockdown every time they come out.
Last year
especially when
they
there's
had
a
the
lead.
best WAR of all time.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, they had the third.
The lineup obviously is what it is. There's obviously 2 key guys missing in that lineup. So if you were to ask me with Didi and Hicks, I might give you a different answer. Currently constructed, the lineup is fantastic, but I think the bullpen, I think those guys are so good and so deep that there's not really a weakness to speak of in that bullpen. You could say right now in the lineup, a little bit.
Yeah, because
and that's the difference for me.
because-
That's why I say that.
Because there is guys that can struggle. Gardner, Bird, Voit could. I know he's played very well, but You know,
He could. I mean, everybody has it. Stan's had it. Sanchez has had it. Judge has had it sometimes.
And I bet you when we talk about this in mid-July, I'm going to be right on this. Adam Ottavino is going to be the best pickup of any team in the entire in the offseason.
Damn
because
right,
I
man.
watched his stuff last night. First of all, his slider is crazy.
Can we ask the question?
Hold on. And David Cohn said his slider was great in Colorado, and that's hard to get this ball to spin.
That's saying
and then
a
he
lot.
threw a two-seamer yesterday that literally was like.
Can we ask the question? Do you think he would ever strike out Babe Ruth?
After watching him yesterday, I'm thinking it's probably likely. Every time, maybe not, but
Chapman
more
probably
often than not, yeah.
Because Babe Ruth probably didn't see 100-mile-an-hour bat.
I mean, I know
Lefty, too,
I mean,
right?
I know we played Baltimore. And everything looks better when you're playing a team like Baltimore. The offense looked good. Voit comes out right from the bank. But there's two guys that I think me and us three have talked a lot about, and it comes down to Greg Bird and Brett Gardner. Those are two guys. Your leadoff hitter currently right now, which I hope that Boone makes decisions like that to put in a Torres or an Andujar. And I think they're just relying on these guys. It's kind of like the Giant factor of relying so much on Eli and having its back. Do you see that kind of similar with Bird and Gardner?
I specifically with Gardner, I mentioned this to you guys obviously before the show here started. I would not want to see Brett Gardner hitting 188 June 15th and get released.
I don't think they'll ever release him. I think, if anything, to the bench.
But no,
I
he makes a good
put
point.
The Yankees in that position, and right, look, he looked awful yesterday.
He didn't look good.
Well, you can always. I mean, once Hicks comes back, Gardner could go to the bench. You could put DJ LeMahieu in as your leadoff guy, and Hicks.
And I think that's going to be huge. Look, I think if Brett Gardner's in there a couple times a week doing some pinch running, whatever the case may be, defensive replacement in games where maybe Stanton's starting out and left, that would be a good use of this guy. This guy's got limited abilities at this point, and I think if you treat him well and you use him, because look, we know he puts together great at bats when he's rested but when he's beat down, you get a lot of pop ups, a lot of strikeouts. He starts swinging for the fences. Yep. That's my concern. Greg Bird was one more strikeout away from getting run out of town yesterday, and instead he homered, and we're supposed to be cool with everything else about that game. I don't understand it. He looked awful the first three at-bats, cost his third baseman an error.
Yes, and do hard. I said that too.
Horrible.
That was a tough play. I think a Machado or an Arenado make a play like that, but that was a tough play. Great job by Andujar. Just Greg Bird's got to do a better job.
You got to do a better job than that. Again, why was he at first base and not Luke Voit?
Because supposedly Bird's the better defensive.
He's the better defender.
That's the only reason why, and he adds balance to the lineup, and that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Because if Voit was the lefty, he's probably the starting first base.
Yeah, and
DJ LeMahieu's probably the DH yesterday. And then we're rotating the lineup a little bit differently because you got to think about there's great depth on this team. That's one thing. I was going to ask a question. Are the depleted Yankees right now a better club than they were last year? And I'll pretty much answer my own question. They are. Because they have guys like DJ LeMahieu who can play multiple positions. They just brought in the kid Trauschman from Colorado. I feel like we're like the Colorado team. We got all
Colorado Rockies East over here for
it's
some
like the
reason.
New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals.
But you look at this team. You're eventually going to get Didi back sometime in June, July. Tulowitzki. I mean, you're going to have all these. It's going to be a good issue and a good problem to have because you're going to have somebody's going to have.
And I'm glad you. I'm glad you said the problem. Because I know it's one game. What's the biggest question mark going for the Yankees?
It's easy.
I think it's the 4 and 5 spots until Sevy and Sabathia get back. Because if you're winning 3 times a week and losing the other 2, then it's not the start that you want. So I think initially, that's the biggest issue for the Yankees. Because look, if Greg Bird's not hitting and if Gardner's not hitting, they're still going to win games.
There's 7 other guys.
Right? That I'm not concerned about. If another starter gets hurt and German and or Sessa are then you could potentially have some issues. But again, I expect to see Sabathia back pretty soon and then Sevy shortly thereafter. And assuming everything goes right with that, There are no weaknesses, but right now, to me, that's the big one. What
do you think?
And it's a big one.
It's obvious starting pitching. It's really obvious. Health, you can make the excuse for every single team in every single sport.
Of course,
it really doesn't
yes.
matter.
Yes.
Teams that are healthiest have the best chance to win. I worry about Severino's arm. I really do. I know it's stupid.
You don't worry about that, do
It's
you?
information, but I don't look at it as like, it's just, like I have a bruise and it's just, I worry about the shoulder being an issue down the road. It's going to take time.
Look at Chris
I
Sale
wonder
right now.
you just wonder sometimes, does it lead to something else? Tanaka's had his issues. It's like
We're still waiting for that elbow to We're still waiting for it to shatter.
by a thread.
Paxton's never pitched over 200 innings. How does he handle being a frontline starter?
Hap. Don't forget about Hap.
Hap is older. How does he handle a full year in the Yankees and the pressure?
Mm-hmm.
You got, like Joe said, Domingo Germán, Luis Cessa. How do they pan out 4 and 5? Can they hold up with the Yankees offense? It really comes down to starting pitching, because if you look at the Red Sox starting pitching is legit. The lineup is legit. So you look at the two Yankee teams; those are balanced. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have better bullpen, or would you rather have starting rotation?
If you could combine the Yankees and the Red Sox,
It'd be the unbeatable team.
they'd be the greatest team of all time.
It'd be
You
like
could
the
literally
Golden State Warriors
Oh
of
yeah,
the NBA.
You'd be stacked.
The problem is the only Yankee
Who's
outfit.
starting right field?
Mookie.
That's a tough one.
I think Mookie goes to center.
Yeah,
No.
I'll play Mookie at second.
No.
Mookie can play anywhere.
See, the only person I take out of the Red Sox outfield is probably Bradley. I put Mookie to center and put Judge in right, and I keep Benintendi in left.
Let's shift over to the other New York team. Two best pitchers in baseball pitched yesterday in Washington. Yeah, I said it. Two best pitchers. Max Scherzer is filthy, and Jacob Degrom is right back where he started last year. Cy Young. He's unreal. I don't get why you just can't see that he's not a good... Do you think he's not a good pitcher?
No, I think
What is
he's
your thing towards Jacob Degrom?
I want to clear this up.
Yes. I want to know.
I think Jacob Degrom is a great pitcher who didn't have a statistically great season. A lot of the numbers were there, Ted. I understand. Listen, I don't get caught up in war. Here's what I expect from a
win
starting
25
pitcher.
games this year now.
You have to win more than 10 games. And here's why I say this. Kyle Freeland pitched to a 3.17 ERA in Colorado and won 17 games. That's hard to do. I know the Mets suck, but that's not an excuse as to why you couldn't win more games.
But it's easy to score when you're scoring 7-8 runs, 6
Sure
to 7
it
runs,
is.
instead of
Sure
1
it
to 2
is.
runs, and you're
But
pitching your heart out every
Colorado's
time.
not any better. Their bullpen's not any better than the Mets was.
I wish I can remember the guy for the Yankees a couple years. It might have been Clemens or one of the guys where the Yankees averaged like 6 runs a game for him.
Yes.
Remember a couple years ago?
Aaron Small.
No.
Remember Aaron Small? He went 10-0 for the Yankees.
No,
Yeah.
not him, but he pitched. But there was a guy in the Yankees where his ERA was over 4, and the Yankees were scoring the most runs. They had like 6.5 runs a game for them, and he was a winning record. And then you got a guy who's got a 2 ERA and has got a losing record. It's like, listen, the two best pitchers pitched yesterday in the NL. Actually,
I'm saying baseball. Those are the two best pitchers in baseball.
You're probably right.
Scherzer goes 7 2/3
You're probably right.
12
Listen,
Ks, and
my
loses.
issue with the Cy Young Award being given to
Because it's a
DeGrom was
numbers
this.
thing, Joe.
It's yes, ultimately, and look, the guy was great, and we've seen great seasons like that, and some of them have been rewarded before. Obviously, Felix Hernandez.
Blame him for it then.
Yes,
because he
and
was
the
the
Zach
one.
No, don't
Greinke.
blame him. Blame the voters
And
because
the Zach Greinke year, and look, again, I called those hard luck seasons where you did everything right, you just didn't win enough games. You're a starting pitcher, and don't tell me that stat is overrated, because it's not. For Blake Snell to win 20 games, right? It says Blake's a really good pitcher. Mm-hmm. And when he was pitching for Tampa Bay, they were a much better team than when he wasn't on the mound.
no, absolutely. And like your guy, you said Aaron Nola, you really liked last year.
Yes.
The kid from Philly, you loved
19-game winner.
You loved the kid Freeland.
These guys found a way to win games. And again, I know, the Mets fans, well, if they scored 3 runs a game, he would have been 35. And get out of here. But he didn't. And I live in reality land.
I think it's hard to blame the pitcher. I think it's hard though to blame the pitcher when your team doesn't like. Are you? I mean, come on, Joe. To give up less than 2 runs a game and lose. Like, think about it. Scherzer yesterday.
It's awful.
I know. 7 2/3 innings, gives up 2 runs, has 12 Ks, and loses the game. And because
well, then he should be the Cy Young winner because if
He might
if
easily
if
be
the
it.
Nationals would have scored 3 runs, he would have won.
now
He might easily be it.
now
this
DeGrom
year.
gave up no runs.
Listen, if the Nationals score 1 more run on their opponent in every one of his starts, he'll win all his games this year.
I know what you mean. All you got to do is win 1-0, and
That's it. You put again. Look. For
know.
me, one of the big problems I had with DeGrom last year were a lot of those games where he came out in the 7th inning and with a 1-run lead and the bullpen blew it. And it's like, well, maybe you should have gone 8 innings then.
no, I know. I listen.
Okay? That was my I'm not saying DeGrom's not great, that his stuff's not filthy, because those things are all true. I'm just saying that 10 wins,
I know.
that's how many wins Dave Robertson had for the Yankees last year. He's a reliever.
You have a legit argument because, like Steve Rizzo said, where Nola won 17 games, Freeland won 17 games. These guys won games, and it wasn't like their ERA was 4 or 5.
Right.
They were subpar 3 ERAs.
I mean, he had a
Even Scherzer's was like 3.
He had a 1.7. Ed, Steve will probably correct me. A 1.78 ERA last year.
It was 1.79.
It was 1.79.
Yeah. Again,
That's
unbelievable
that's
number.
Unreal.
Really, and it speaks to the kind of season he had. But this is a team game.
No, I know.
No, I know.
That's all.
And the Mets have been.
Hey,
pretty bad
I'll
other
put
than-
it this way:
The Mets come up. They started off hot. They started off hot right
they'll
now.
be a better team this year.
Cano is gonna be a
Robinson
huge
Cano
addition.
does what he does best, and he hits the ball.
And he's relevant again.
Yes.
We'll be talking about Robbie Cano a lot this year because he's back in the New York market.
He'll make a huge difference for the Mets this year. I really
100%. If
truly
he can
believe
stay
that.
healthy and
Whatever
not
the
get in-
steroids he was taking were, certainly has improved his game.
No, not really.
if he-
because
I'm just kidding, but he did.
if he could stay healthy-
you know he's played in the most
Look.
games since 2009. Didn't miss any. He played the most games.
Let's
Okay, and he's one of the best hitters in baseball, and he
Yes.
was the best hitter when
let's
the
take a
baseball
quick break
before he
and then
took
we'll come back
steroids
and make
then
it
Yes.
after.
Are you?
And most of them are. I don't really have a problem with
Are
steroids.
you able to
I'm
stick
joking.
around for a couple more minutes with us?
I
know
think
you're.
I could make
I
it
know you're a
happen.
busy man, but we want to get your predictions, Cy Young, MVPs, and World
Jacob
Series.
DeGrom.
We'll talk about that in a few.
kidding.
Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. You heard it. We're going to be making our predictions of the MLB this year with the host of the Road Call, Joe Aguirre. We will be right back, folks. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Get a double dose of Joseph Aguirre today. How about that?
Yeah, that's
you get
right.
Joe Aguirre twice. Now it's time. We just had our preview with the Mets, the Red Sox,
Our local teams.
and the Yankees, the local teams.
And we're going to continue
but
this
we have
beef
to
with the
talk-
local teams all year round.
Exactly. We have to.
Gotta be fair
We're
to
in the
everyone.
Boston and New York market. We're in between. We have to. Now it's time to make our predictions, our long-awaited MLB predictions of this year. Division winners, wild cards, MVP, Cy Youngs. You're going to hear it all from Keys to the City. So let's start with the AL East.
Start with the host.
Who
Or
will
the
be
guest.
the guest?
The guest host.
The guest host. as we call
Listen,
it.
he has been the host a couple times. So.
Yeah, true enough. Yankees.
Yankees or Red Sox? Who's winning the AL East?
Yankees win the division this year. I
Yes.
think it'll be close. I think it'll be an exciting, and it'll be like last year, but I think the Yankees.
How many
edge out
wins do you
this time.
see both teams?
I don't think anyone's going to win 100 this year.
Any
think
team
the
in baseball?
Yankees, maybe somebody will. I have the
Astros
Yankees-
will because they have a weak division.
Yeah, I have the Yankees for probably 98 wins. I think Boston around 94.
Okay. Who you got?
I think the Red Sox win the division too. I think they win it by one game. I really do. I think
That's fine.
They're going to have 101 wins, and I think the Yankees win 100. I think the Yankees win 100 again. And it
You
does.
said the Yankees win 100 again?
Yeah.
Really?
I think both teams win 100 again because of how bad Toronto and Baltimore are going to be. So they're.
What about Tampa? We just
And
forget about Tampa.
I read the stat before. The biggest thing last year was the Red Sox were a 750 winning percentage against teams that had more than 85 losses last year. And the
Yankees were not
Yankees
there.
didn't have. They only had a 660 winning percentage, and
Yeah.
that's a difference of it was a difference of 9 or 10 wins. So the Yankees.
In the division, they struggle.
Yes, and that's the thing. They can't be losing to games to
The Orioles,
Well, I can't
Toronto,
say Tampa anymore, but Toronto and Baltimore. They should be winning. If there's 18 games they play against each other, they should be winning 15 of the 18.
Okay.
They should be 15-3, both teams.
So I got to be the deciding factor in this. I'm going to go with the Yankees. This year. I think the Yankees will. I picked the Red Sox to win the World Series. Maybe I'll be right with the
Listen, I hope either way. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, of course.
The Yankees,
like
will win. The only thing that scares me, as we've been talking about it, is the pitching staff. I'm not worried about this offense. I'm not worried about this bullpen.
That's why I said the Red Sox, because I trust their starting rotation.
Well, we have to keep an eye on this Chris Sale thing.
Okay, but they still have 4 other guys that could. Price could be your ace. Porcel could be your ace.
So do we.
I'm pretty sure Chris Sale's not going like 8-16 this year. I think one bat's. I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to count the guy out just yet. I think he'd be all right. NL East. I am definitely going to say the Nationals. The pitching is way too good there.
You just stick to the most.
Plus, it just makes sense. You get rid of your best player. Of course, you win the division.
There was a joke on Adam Shine on Sirius Radio the other day. They said the guy, Dan Duquette, who works for the MLB Network, had his predictions, and he said he had the Nationals beating the Yankees in the World Series.
Can you imagine
and
that?
Shine said, "How wild would that be for MLB that they probably
be like
one of
the Giants winning after Tiki.
lose their best player, goes to the Phillies, and then the Nationals win the World
It's like
Series.
the
after it
Giants
goes.
losing Tiki.
But
and
with
then
that
winning
being
the
said,
Super Bowl.
I totally see it.
I think the Phillies win the division. I think they win in a close one.
Bought into the hype train.
It's not about the hype. I think about Joe's guy Noah. He's a legit ace and one of the best pitchers
Aaron
in baseball.
Nola's beast.
Jake Arrieta as their number 2 is a solid number 2. David Robertson's going to help out that bullpen, and that lineup is too good not to hit consistently, because it's not like there's one or two guys. They have 7 or 8 guys in an NL, league where it's not as depth like the AL is because of the DH, but they have 7 or 8 guys with McCutchen, with Segura, with Harper, with the kid Hoskins, who hit a home run last night.
All right, so I guess I got to be the deciding factor again. I'm going to go with the Nationals.
And you hate the Nationals.
I don't like the Nationals, but I do not buy into the Phillies hype yet. And the Mets are the Mets right now. And the Braves, dealing with injuries
I don't think
right
they did
now,
enough, the Braves.
I don't know how I feel about the Braves repeating as champs again. I see the Nationals winning. The Patrick Corbin signing is huge. They have a nice 1-2-3. If Strasburg could stay healthy, that's a very nice 1-2-3 punch. And then they got Juan Soto, who could be their next Bryce Harper type player.
Yeah,
I'll go with the Nationals, but this is a toss-up.
We should have stuck right with the AL when we write it down.
I think it's too hard for the Phillies to go from not being great to being World Series champions. I
didn't put them as World Series. I just said division champions. In probably the best division in all baseball.
There's 4 teams that could legit win this, and the Marlins are just the Marlins. They're there. I don't know who's going to be the worst team in baseball, the Marlins and the Orioles.
Because, Trev, I just want to make this point. You look at that division. Noah and Arrieta for the Phillies. Then you have DeGrom and Syndergaard for the Mets.
I'm going to throw something at you. Shut it.
And then you have, like you said, the Nationals with Corbin.
All right, let's go to the next one. AL Central. Who do you got?
AL Central.
I think this is a 2-team
easily
race.
going to go with the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
The fact that they kept all of their starters like Kluber and Bauer tell me.
For now.
Well, sure. As long as they stay in contention
The
and
2
things
best
are
players
going
are
well.
dealing with injuries right now, too, currently. Jose Ramirez and Lindor.
It's a good time to be in the American League Central.
Who do you got?
I think it's Cleveland too. For me, it's the Twins. I don't see as a prover yet, and I don't look at Berrios as a star ace for them right now. They have too many question marks.
I'm going with the Twins. I'm going going to buy into the hype on the Twins because they're due.
But I'll put this way: those 2 teams should run away with that division because the 3 other teams are rebuilding in Kansas City, Chicago, and Detroit.
Byron Buxton has to be huge for them this year,
He's got to play like an all-star.
like he was a couple years ago.
So
That's what it comes down to. This is a 2-man race, so we're all at least we're in the same thing.
yeah, absolutely.
NL Central. This is like the NL East. It's a toss-up. There's 3 teams that legit have a shot to win this division. Joe, start with you. Who's winning? Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers.
I like
The other teams.
the Brewers. I think the Brewers are going to build off last season. I think they got a great base. They've got some pretty decent starting pitching.
And if they can pick up a Kimbrel,
I'm telling you, if they get Kimbrel,
With Hader.
lock it up.
you can lock them probably maybe to the World Series as well.
Could very well be. I really like the Brewers a great deal.
Go ahead, bud.
You want me to go? Oh, I got the Brewers too. The Brewers are just I think they're the most talented team. The Cubs, yeah, they got a lot of nice names in that pitching staff, but the injuries, they're top 3. That was a terrible contract. Lester, I don't buy into Lester being still an ace anymore. He's getting older and older.
I'm
But
the
that
odd-
offense,
because I'm the
that
oddball.
that offense with Joe Madden. You got to still have faith in that offense. They're extremely talented. But I'm going to go with the Brewers. Like you said, they have a nice little core going right there. It all comes down to the pitching. But if they could get Kimbrel, you almost could put them in the World Series.
I'm going to be the oddball. I'm going to say the Cubs. And it's legitimately. Well,
I'm just kidding.
Somebody's been watching too much ESPN.
no, I haven't watched.
I'm just joking.
And I haven't. And here's the
Their
thing.
fascination with the Cubs.
Oh,
is
really? See,
disturbing.
I haven't heard anything about the Cubs. I swear, I haven't.
They're in
heard-
love with the Cubs.
Okay,
I haven't
first
heard
of all,
much
like
about
I
the
said
Cubs.
before, other than
They talked a lot about the
the
Cubs?
Red Sox, you look at the Cubs starting rotation. There's legit 5 aces on that team. Jose Quintana is their 5th starter. Okay, Kyle Kendricks was their best pitcher when they won the World Series. Okay, you have Lester, you have Hamels, who. Okay, now he's going to have a full season in the NL. And then if Darvish is a question mark, if he could pitch even 75% or 80% to what they expected, they're going to have a awesome starting rotation. And then Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo have to play like the superstars that they project.
Yeah, I'm sick of them being like subpar
But
players. They need to get back to where they were when they won the World Series.
And I know their biggest question mark, just like the Red Sox, is their bullpen.
Let's finish off with the AL West and the NL West.
I think these are the easiest ones.
I think we both are on.
Are we all on the Dodgers and Astros?
Dodgers and Astros repeating.
As winning?
I think the Oakland A's
are winning the AL West.
are going to surprise you.
Are they winning the AL West?
They're going to win the American League West by
think they have
one
enough, though?
game. No, I don't.
Well,
So you just said, wait, did you?
I don't, but
You
when
said
have
the
the
Ast-
Oakland A's ever had enough?
never. But
Look at that team
Why
last
would
year.
you? I would ask you this and make
You said the
why?
Astros could win 100 games. Are you saying the
No, I
Oakland-
didn't.
No, didn't you?
I
say
don't
that?
think the Astros are going to win 100 games. I said somebody else might, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be the Astros. I think the Astros are getting older. Relatively speaking, they're still basically a team, but these guys have been around for a while. I think you're more apt to see more injuries. I think not bringing back Keuchel.
Still a free agent.
And listen,
That's another thing. Another
this
guy.
could all change if they bring him back. But who's the other pitcher? Peacock, I think, is out for the season.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of concern for Houston. I don't think Houston's going to win 100 games. I think Anaheim's a better team this year. I think you're gonna, and I think Texas is a better team this year. So I don't think it's going to be the cakewalk it was last year. So I don't see 100 wins.
These are 2 cakewalks.
I don't see 100 wins.
These have been the perennials of these divisions.
It'll be tight. I like Oakland over Houston.
The Dodgers and Astros, those are the two
I think
most
both. I
talented
think both
teams.
Dodgers
Yeah.
and Astros both win their division by easily 5 games, and it's nothing
Yes.
against Colorado. Because
Dodgers, I'm in on.
Because Colorado's
because
I mean,
Colorado's got 2 good pitchers, really good pitchers. Freeland's and I can't know the
Joe's favorite
second.
player in
I
baseball.
love Freeland.
And I know Trevor, one of his favorite players, Nolan Arenado.
Oh, that's my favorite player in
Trevor
baseball.
Story.
That's my player.
You know,
That's
but-
my favorite player in baseball.
But I just look at the
like some
Astros.
players over there.
I know we do.
And here's the thing: the Astros won 100 games last year, and probably their best player had an awful season, Carlos Correa. Okay, you can make the argument Carlos Correa is their best player. Alex Bregman is due for an MVP type of year. Altuve, I mean Springer, and they have 2 aces in Garrett Cole and Verlander, and that's why I still think the Astros pull away in that division.
This is the easy one. This is like the NL. This is like the NFL and the West. What is it? The NFC West, the AFC West. It's always like something easy to pick.
I
Let's
think
pick
Garrett Cole's going to take a little step back this year.
Everybody thinks he's taking a step forward and
Not me.
Cy Young. Who's your wild cards? AL.
My wild cards are Boston and Houston.
Mine were the Yankees and Twins,
Mine were the Red Sox and Indians.
and the Yankees will beat the Twins again, like they always do.
NL.
Yeah, that's pretty
NL
normal.
wild card. This is tougher. This
NL
is a lot
wild card,
tougher.
I'm going to go with Colorado, and I'm going to go with the Cubbies.
Wow, me and you have the exact same
Oh,
thing.
get out of here.
I swear to God.
Oh, wow.
Even though like the Brewers, the Cardinals, all those the NL East.
And I'm going to go with the Nationals versus the Brewers in the wild card.
Wow, the Brewers. I just think the Brewers. Are
Well,
just
because
so
I have the Cubs
talented.
win the division, so I think the Brewers.
I don't-
and the Cardinals literally are the sleeper of that division.
They
man.
always are.
They really are the sleeper.
You
because
just
they-
got to watch out. If the Brewers do get Kimbrel, man, that is a
Well, here's
game.
the
That's a
thing.
game
Here's
changer.
the thing. Not taking away from anything, but if Keuchel or Kimbrough signs whatever team, and it's a legit team, meaning it's one of the 7 or 8 teams that we think are going to win the division or have a chance to win the World Series, that's going to give that team that much more advantage over another division rival.
Who wins the ALCS? And what's your matchup?
I think the Yankees win the American League Championship Series
Over
the Red Sox.
Okay.
And it's going to be
ALCS.
awesome.
We'll make the World Series will be our last thing we make predictions. Who's the NLCS?
And
ALCS.
Yankees over the Astros.
Yankees over Astros as well. NLCS.
NLCS, I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers over the Dodgers into the World Series.
Dodgers over the Nationals.
Dodgers over the Nationals as well. It seems like it's the same teams every year.
I was questioning
you
the
almost
Phillies.
want to pick against those teams.
Of course you do.
You just can't.
The Nationals are going to knock out the Phillies in the first round.
Yankees
And the wild card?
Yanks take out the Brew Crew to win the World Series. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
I got the Yankees beating the Dodgers, but I did write the other day. I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees, the matchup we always wanted a couple years, the Yankees beat the Cubs.
Who is our
Yankees Dodgers? I think that'd be so.
Either
great.
way,
AL MVP?
It'd be great for America.
AL MVP?
I believe Aaron Judge will put together his best season.
Yep.
I realize his rookie year was outstanding. I think he's going to top it.
AL MVP. I am going with Aaron Judge as well.
I don't know if I have a pick because I wanted.
No, you give me a damn pick. I want a damn pick.
It literally comes down to
You
Mookie
can't
Betts.
handle his pick.
He can't handle
It literally
that.
comes down to Mookie Betts, Trout, and Judge. I think Judge and
Bregman.
Betts are going to get the advantage because they're going to have better teams. I just think Trout's going to put up astronomical numbers again. And it's going to be a numbers thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Trout will get the advantage of being the numbers guy and win again. Trout is going to win. It's like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. You should give them the MVP every year.
Okay.
Because they're that damn good.
Going with Aaron Judge. He's due for a massive year, and the way he's hitting, which is awesome to see that he's hitting a lot of oppo.
That's where his strong point is.
That's a great thing to see. He's due to have a massive year. I don't think it's going to be like his rookie year where he has, like, people are saying 60, 50 home runs.
I think he'll
see
hit
it.
50.
Maybe 40, 45 if he stays healthy. This will be his best year. He's a 5-tool player. He's due to have this is his year.
And Judge could also win the Gold Glove too this year.
NL MVP. You already know who I'm going with. I mean,
He's
I've been talking about him all year. Oh, I got a tweet by the Colorado Rockies because I said this man is due. He is due to win. Nolan Arenado may be the best player in baseball, not named Mike Trout. He's that good. He is due. He keeps climbing the ladder of MVPs.
My
So,
selection,
give him a chance.
St. Louis Cardinals first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. I think he's going to put up a Miguel Cabrera kind of a 320, 45 homer.
Triple crown?
100. I don't think he's going to win the triple
Do you
crown.
know
I think he'll be top 3 in each
they had
of those
a
categories.
stat out on him? He was the only baseball player on the last 5 years to average over 280 batting average, 30 home runs, 30 doubles, and over 100 RBIs.
Who do you got as your?
He's a stud, man.
Who's your guy? Oh yeah, he is. Who's your NL?
I like the kid Hoskins from Philly because he's going to be protected in that lineup with Segura and Harper.
I like
and
him.
he's
Different.
I saw what he did in that home run derby last year, and I think he has the power and protection in that lineup to do something significant. It's an unknown guy that has a chance to put up big
AL Cy
numbers.
Young. What do you got?
Oh, boy. My American League Cy Young Award is going to go to Corey Kluber. I think he's going to have an outstanding season in a weak division. He's going to absolutely feast on those people. Yeah.
I think it comes down to Bauer and Garrett Cole. So either one of those guys. I'll put those two.
I got a
put two
crazy
men too.
one. Kind of like who you just went your MVP. I got Jose Barrios for the
Like
Twins.
it. I it.
think he's going to put it all together. He's nasty. When he's on, he's nasty. He's got some filthy stuff, and he's extremely young, extremely talented, and he's the ace of that staff. I'm going with Jose Barrios. Call me crazy. I don't really care. NL Cy Young, I got to repeat.
Max Scherzer is my pick. He's always my pick because he's the best pitcher in baseball, hands down.
Jacob Degrom will repeat and cement
DeGrom,
himself
25
as the
win-
best
20
pitcher in baseball.
Bet he wins 20 games this year.
Who does he get traded to?
No one. The Mets are going to score more.
Out of your mind.
He will win at least 18 games this year.
He will win no more than 12.
Oh, no. Give me a break. You're done, Joe. We're
I'll
done.
take that.
You want to take that
one.
bet?
I'll give 15. That one.
I'll go 12. 12 wins.
12.
12 wins for Jacob
doesn't
DeGrom.
top 12.
He doesn't?
No.
So the under, you're going under 12.
Yeah. He may get to 12.
Okay, so you're saying
No, he's got to be over 12 for you to win.
You need 13 for the win, correct. I don't think he
Bucky
gets
13.
there.
Easy.
A Baker's
Jacob
dozen.
DeGrom will win again, and it will cement himself as the best pitcher in baseball this year.
But it will be between the two guys we just mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think that's an easy one. Or Aaron Nola. I'm surprised you didn't pick your guy Nola. Or Freeland.
It's hard to pitch in Colorado.
So who do we got winning the World Series this
I
year?
already told you.
Yeah, Yanks.
I had Yanks over Dodgers.
Yanks over Brewers.
Oh, I thought we were going to wait until the end. I'm sorry.
We said
I
it
apologize.
before.
I didn't make my
we
prediction.
did. We jumped the gun.
See,
on
again,
that.
he doesn't listen.
I had the Yankees. No, I'm just doing
You
my
know
own
what?
thing.
You're not wrong, Ted.
Both
No,
of you.
I'm just playing.
Both of you. You're done. You're done. Yankees, Dodgers.
Rookie of the Year, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I say
if
this
he could get
only
back-
because he's on my fantasy team, and I really want to get him up on the club and
I hope he flourishes.
I don't know. I don't know enough
destroys the
guys
ball.
to be the rookie.
I hope Vlad Guerrero destroys the ball. I hope he plays great. I hope he's like his father. He's going to be great. I love Vlad Guerrero.
Chances
Jr.
of the Blue Jays having the Rookie of the Year is high between him, Bichette, Gurriel, the second baseman,
Don't forget about
and Danny Jansen, the catcher.
Don't forget about the
Tatis?
White Sox. Elo Jimenez.
yeah.
Jimenez.
He didn't look too high yesterday, though. I'll tell you
And
that.
Tatis.
Well,
could
go.
be-
You know,
and Tatis of the Padres.
and I'll end
could
it on
be-
this.
Stud, too.
The big
yeah.
name guys yesterday, awful. Machado 0 for 3, Harper 0 for 3, Goldschmidt 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, all signed big contracts.
Puig went 0 for 4.
But
All
as
the
we
big
said,
guys-
there's only 161 more games.
Is baseball going down now because all opening days over with now and nobody just doesn't
Wait, who
care?
had Tim Beckham for 2 home runs yesterday?
Who had the Dodgers? Who
sitting
had
on
the
90
Dodgers hitting 8?
Yeah. Or Jock Peterson hitting 2 himself. There's a lot of that
Kiki
yesterday.
Hernandez.
A lot of mediocre players hit home runs. Well, so you still got a few more openers today.
Yeah. But does anybody have any interest now that opening day's over with, or we just go back to like, okay, baseball? Well,
now
here
it's
we
the
go.
grind. The grind's begun.
That's what hurts baseball.
Yes.
Because I said yesterday's their Super Bowl, and then it just becomes like preseason football till September. Unless you're a true baseball fan, it becomes preseason football till September.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
here.
for joining us and being part of the MLB preview show.
was
Hopefully
awesome.
the Yankees.
Did you write down his all those things? His predictions.
Me and him are pretty similar.
Yeah, okay.
We pretty
I
much
pretty
have
much know.
we pretty much have the exact same.
And I promise I didn't look at your book beforehand.
And don't worry, I'm going to be
here.
winning a nice sub because he just made.
You need a lot.
dumb-
You're going to be getting a lot of subs this year.
I know. He made a very bad mistake.
Wait till DeGrom misses the rest of the season in 2 weeks. And we'll see who gets the last laugh.
I would. Oh,
I
Met-
hope it doesn't
Don't tell
happen.
Met
Sorry,
fans
I
that.
know.
They might freak out. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the Sweet 16, Elite 8 as well. We are Keys to the City. That was the host of the Roll Call and the president of Clovercrest Media, Joe Aguirre. Everybody, have a great weekend. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics from Kanye, Yeezy to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.